Hello, I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Thanks for joining us tonight on TCM for the final night in our Star of the Month lineup. Up next, Gregory Peck leads an all-star cast in a post-apocalyptic drama produced and directed by Stanley Kramer, released by United Artists in 1959, On the Beach. By this point in his career, Stanley Kramer had earned a reputation for making movies about controversial subjects. His previous film, The Defiant Ones, starred Tony Curtis and Sidney Poitier as a pair of escaped convicts chained together, come to realize that survival is more important than one man's bigotry. With On the Beach, Kramer took on the subject of nuclear war and its aftermath. Based on a novel by Neville Shute, story, set mostly in Australia, imagines a World War III scenario. A number of characters are waiting to see if nuclear fallout from the Northern Hemisphere will make its way toward them or dissipate before getting there. Gregory Peck leads the ensemble cast as a submarine commander leading a crew to the United States in search of survivors. Ava Gardner is his love interest, while Anthony Perkins plays an Australian naval officer with a wife and newborn child. Another key character is a cynical nuclear scientist. Stanley Kramer couldn't figure out who to cast in that role until his wife, watching a Fred Astaire movie on television, suggested Astaire for the part. Kramer loved the idea. The movie gave Fred Astaire his first chance to play a non-musical dramatic role on screen. Here it is, produced right in the middle of the Cold War, but coming 3 years before the Cuban Missile Crisis, making it a bold film for its time. From producer and director Stanley Kramer, also with Donna Anderson, John Tate, and Hart McGuire, On the Beach. On the Beach stands as the third of three movies Gregory Peck made with his close friend Ava Gardner. They first co-starred in the 1949 period drama The Great Sinner, adapted from a Dostoevsky novel. Then 3 years later, they teamed up again in another literary adaptation, The Snows of Kilimanjaro, based on a short story by Ernest Hemingway. Gardner and Peck hit it off from the moment they met during production on The Great Sinner. They remained close friends for the rest of her life. When Ava Gardner died in 1990, her pet corgi and her loyal housekeeper both went to live with Gregory Peck and his wife. 2 years after Gardner's death, in the spring of 1992, Peck paid homage to his friend with a visit to the Ava Gardner Museum in Smithfield, North Carolina. The museum guide who gave him a tour later said, "One day, a tall man with a scruffy gray beard and a cap pulled low on his head entered the museum. She showed him a black velvet gown that Ava Gardner wore in that 1949 film, The Great Sinner. 'Oh, yes,' the man said. 'I remember that gown.' That's when the guide nearly fainted because she realized suddenly she was talking to Gregory Peck." Coming up, Peck plays a NASA commander in an underappreciated sci-fi thriller co-starring Richard Crenna, James Franciscus, and Gene Hackman. Marooned from 1969 is next on Turner Classic Movies.
Next on TCM, Marooned, then Moby Dick, and later, Captain Horatio Hornblower. There's more Gregory Peck on deck tonight.